From touring with Lewis Capaldi to winning the Brit Rising Star Award, Holly Humberstone has achieved more in her career than most, and she's not even released her first album. She's back to play Glastonbury for the second time, this time to a much bigger audience, and with a trajectory like hers, she's definitely one to keep your eye on. Well, welcome back to another episode of Who the the show that aims to take a deep dive into some of the acts performing across festival season in 2022. In today's episode, we're heading back to the fields of Glastonbury, Worthy Farm. She's a singer-songwriter from the Midlands, I guess, and she's just on an upward trajectory at the moment. If you've never heard of her before, hopefully this video helps answer the question, who the is Holly Humberstone?
'Cause I cried all the summer away. Ooh, you left me waiting on a
Holly Humberstone is from Grantham, which is a small market town in Lincolnshire. Genre-wise, she's described as pop, synth pop, indie pop. I think like a singer-songwriter is also probably the best way to put her. She's been compared to artists such as Lorde and Bon Iver, but Holly states herself she takes significant influence from Ben Howard, Haim, and definitely Phoebe Bridgers. She's quoted saying that Oh by Damien Rice was her first favourite album and relates to female writers who overshare. In a quote she says, I take influence from loads of different places, but I love Lorde and Phoebe Bridgers, who both have really personal and on-the-nose lyrics. Lauren, my partner, also draws comparisons to people like Bad for Lashes, particularly with Natasha Khan's breathy and sometimes haunting vocal, but also people like Sky Ferreira, Daughter, Soak. Those kind of really great, indie singer-songwriter, I guess. She grew up in rural Lincolnshire and is the youngest of 4 sisters, encouraged by her parents to pursue art. Within the house, her mother is an avid cello player and her father is a keen poetry collector. In an interview with The Things, she recalls how music would always be playing in her childhood home and she would rush to play the piano in the afternoons coming home from school. I'd always just want to play and sing and write songs, and they were definitely really shit. For sure, there's loads of old notebooks with really cringy lyrics about stuff going down at primary school. In an interview with Apple Music, she also mentioned it being really awkward to share those songs with her parents, writing songs about boys at 14. In 2019, before she released her debut single, she played the introducing stage at the 2019 Glastonbury Festival, performing the record of Falling Asleep in the Wheel.
falling asleep at the wheel.
This would go on to be her second released single. More on that in a second. In January 2020, she released her debut single, Deep End.
Just hear me out and you might understand. We made up.
The track caught the attention of Lewis Capaldi, and she went on tour with him on his European leg in February, which included dates at the iconic Wembley Stadium. She's not even released her first single yet, and she's played Wembley. I remember either him messaging me on Instagram or sharing his story or something, but he told me he loved the song. After the release of Deep End, she followed up with the single Falling Asleep at the Wheel, which has currently sound 46 million streams on Spotify. The single's B-side was the live staple Overkill.
Maybe this time I'll say something a little wild out.
One of her sisters helped with the filming of the video for Overkill. Taking an old VHS camera, she made Holly run through the local forest at dusk with her guitar in hand, creating a video that feels a little bit like the Blair Witch Project. In July 2020, she put out a cover of Radiohead's 1994 classic, Fake Plastic Trees.
She tastes like the real thing.
Before releasing her debut EP, also entitled Falling Asleep at the Wheel, in August. This featured previous singles as well as her breakout single, Vanilla.
But the truth is, I have my best nights without you. So tell me.
It was at this time that I first came across her records, and I remember it just being absolutely hammered on things like Daytime Radio 1. Just before the release of the EP, she was featured by Apple Music in the Up Next feature. Previous inductees of that feature also include people like Arlo Parks, Megan Thee Stallion, Sigrid, Juice WRLD, Billie Eilish, and the most recent inductee, Omar Apollo. In March 2021, she signed with Darkroom, Polydor, and Interscope Records in different countries, which are all subsidiaries of UMG. She released her first single under the new label in April, The Cup of Hot Chocolate That Is Haunted House.
So darling, pull the curtain.
She continued the high train in May, releasing the sublime Walls Are Way Too Thin.
The walls are way too thin.
This would later go on to be the title of her second EP, which featured the 2 previous singles, as well as new records, Please Don't Leave Just Yet, and the unforgettable Scarlet.
Performing Scarlet, here is Holly Humberstone!
It's just the way I'm feeling. 'Cause I cried all the summer away. Ooh, you left me waiting on a heartbreak.
NME gave the Walls Away Too Thin EP a review of 4 out of 5, calling it a soul-bearing triumph. In December 2021, she would team up with the Geordie icon that is Sam Fender for a duet acoustic rendition of 17 Going Under.
I'm 17 going under. I'm 17 going under.
She launched into 2022 with London Is Lonely.
So good when we dance all night, and I swear that I'd be yours.
As well as a cover of perhaps the greatest love song ever made, Prince's immortal I Would Die For You. In March, she would tour with Music Club favourite Girl in Red all across her North American tour, and is set to be the opening act for the second half of Olivia Rodrigo's American tour. At the end of April, she would put out her most recent single, Sleep Tight.
In the back of your car, we're gonna take it too far.
Both London Is Lonely and Sleep Tight are set to be part of her debut album, which is expected in 2022. This is her second time playing Glastonbury Festival. The first time was in 2019. If you've made it this far, I really, really appreciate your time. Hey, I'm going to be making loads and loads and loads of content about Glastonbury artists, about Splendour in the Grass art. I always slip up on that. And Reading and Leeds 2022. If you want to come along for the ride, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit a like. And if you see you're interested in Holly Humberstone, drop a comment below. I really appreciate it. And I reply to every single one of them. You know, I think she's a really cool artist. I think that she's in a place at the moment where she's about to become huge. Now, I don't think she's going to be Billie Eilish huge, but I think about similar people in her place, and I just think that she's got the secret sauce to be those people. I'm really excited to see where her career goes from here. She's got 2 types of songs. It's very obvious to me, I'm not a big fan of singer-songwriters, and I fucking hate ballads. I can't stand them. But she has 2 types of records. Some that are more ballady, and then some that are a little bit more up-tempo and kind of dancey, I guess. I really love Walls Away Too Thin. I think that's a really great pop record. I think that Scarlet is amazing, and I think that Vanilla has that great up-tempo feel about it. That excites me. That's kind of, it's like the Girl in Red stuff. Like Serotonin is a record that I love by Girl in Red, whereas she has some ballady ones that I don't love. Holly Humberstone, when she hits it right for me, she absolutely hits it out of the park. And it's just a personal taste. I don't like ballads, but she clearly does, and that's okay. I don't know what stage she's playing on yet. What do you think? Have you seen her perform before? Are you going to see her perform at Glastonbury this year? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers. Bye.